Hey guys, today I'm going to be decluttering my concealers, correctors, brighteners, all those good things along with some eyeshadow primers. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my concealers. Now the first thing I have is this little concealer book. This is the Measurable Difference Concealer Collection 16 Color Pro Concealer Palette. This is something that I got in a past subscription box and it looks like this. Obviously there are just a ton of different colors in here and this I'll continue to hold on to because I actually do reach for this, I want to say on a weekly basis, specifically like these colors whenever I want to clean up my brow area and I don't want to use a formula that's really wet and creamy. This is a really nice option for that. So yeah, it's a little bit on the drier side, these formulas, but I do think that it's really useful, especially again because it has all those different shades and tones in there. This I'm gonna finally let go of, even though I have loved it. It's the Real Deal Concealer Serious Coverage in the shade Medium by Laura Geller. This is a really good full coverage concealer that is hydrating on the skin. It isn't anything super drying like the Tarte Shape Tape. Like I feel like before Tarte Shape Tape came into my life, this was a very close dupe for that almost in terms of the way that it covers on the skin. It is very, very full coverage, but I've had this for years and years and a little bit of it goes a very long way, which is the only reason why I have not finished it up. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and finally lay that one to rest. It's just a little too old. I also wanna quickly throw this in because it wasn't in my foundation video, it just kind of got thrown in with my concealers, but it's the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. This is just like a little sample that I got from Sephora, and sadly I really did not like this foundation. I found it to be a little bit drying on my skin, so it wasn't all that flattering. So this one I'm gonna go ahead and just toss out. This is another thing I'm actually letting go of. It's the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer Waterproof. I have loved this to death. I've purchased so many of them, but I would totally repurchase it again too. I think it's amazing for covering acne scars and blemishes on the skin because it is waterproof, so it stays in place all day long, which I really do appreciate about this. I've just had it for I don't know how long, years and years, and just have never finished it up. So yeah, I'm just gonna finally let it go, but I would totally repurchase this. Not so much as an under eye concealer, I feel like it's too heavy for that area, but for covering scars, acne, things like that, I really love this stuff. I have these two from Laura Mercier, which I'm gonna continue to hold on to. These are the Flawless Fusion Ultra Long Wear Concealers, and I have the shade 3N and 2W. 3N is a little bit more of like a neutral beigey type of undertone, where 2W has more of that yellowy tone to it. So I kind of like mixing these together and I feel like I get a good match for my skin. But I do like these. They're very lightweight. I like that they're hydrating. The coverage is not my favorite. I sometimes will have to mix it with a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape or something to really amp up the coverage. But I think like on a day-to-day basis, if I'm just going to the office and I don't need like a crazy full coverage concealer, these are really good. And again, I like that they are more hydrating on the under eye so they don't make my under eyes look really crepey and dry. This I'm gonna continue to hold on to because I haven't even tried it out. It's the Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer in Light Golden. This was actually sent to me from Amazing Cosmetics and I just never got around to actually trying it, so I need to test that out. Okay, so I have all of my Wet n Wild concealers here and I'll continue to hold on to these. These are by far my absolute favorite drugstore concealer. I love that they're hydrating, and I know that since I first purchased these, Wet n Wild has come out with a ton of new shades, so definitely check out their site, or I don't know if they're available in Walgreens in their updated shade range, but they do have more selections now than they did in the beginning. So I have the color Medium Peach, which I like to use for my dark under eye circles. I have the color Medium Tawny, which is way too deep for my under eye, so I use this as a spot concealer if I have any blemishes. And then I also have Light Medium Beige as well as a backup of Light Medium Beige because this is pretty much like my everyday color. I do use this concealer on a daily basis if I'm going anywhere because I love that it has good coverage, but it's also not anything drying. And I'll show you a little swatch of it. This one is really running on low, so I'll probably go ahead and toss this one out. It's just on its very last leg, but you can see the formula is like hydrating. There's some coverage in there. It's not a full coverage concealer. but I still really, really like the way it lays on the skin. So I'm gonna toss this one out and then start cracking into this guy. I am finally gonna let go of this Anastasia concealer. It's in the shade 3.5. It's not to say that I didn't like the formula of this. I just think the shade I chose for myself was a little bit too deep. It's a really nice, creamy, beautiful formula, but I'm just not tan enough. Like, this is never gonna look right on my skin. And I also feel like it's a very wet formula and very, very thick in consistency, which I'm not a big fan of. For my under eyes, I do prefer something a little bit more liquidy. So yeah, that one I'm gonna have to let go of. I've got my handy dandy Tarte Shape Tape. This is the concealer that I wear pretty much any single time I'm gonna film or take a picture. It's very full coverage. I don't really need to tell you about this, so I'm just gonna set it over here. I have literally like a million Shop Miss A concealers. I know I went a little bit crazy, but here's the reason why. I actually purchased these in store and there wasn't any like testers in store when I was looking for shades. And because they're only $1, I just figured, let me go a little bit nuts and try a bunch of different ones out, because you never know what something is gonna look like in the tube versus when you actually swatch it. So yeah, I mean, I went a little bit crazy, but I can definitely get rid of some of these. I like these concealers a lot. They are a drier formula, but the coverage is so good that I'm willing to work with them. I'm literally just gonna go ahead and swatch these and see which ones I wanna hold on to. So this first one is the color Light Ivory, and then I have Natural. Okay, definitely gonna let go of Light Ivory and Natural. I just feel like they're slightly too orangey for me. Porcelain, I know I don't even need to look at. I don't even know why I got this one. Clearly it's way too light for my skin tone, so I will pass that one on. It's totally unopened, so I'll probably just give that to a friend. Classic Ivory, I will continue to hold on to. It's a little bit more of a neutral base. Yellow, I'm holding on to. It's a beautiful, warm, custardy, banana type of color. The pigmentation on these are literally insane. So yeah, I will hold on to Yellow. Next is Pure Beige and then just regular beige. Pure Beige I'm gonna let go of. It's a little bit too deep for me. And then I'll hold on to Beige. Peach is actually a corrector, so I'll continue to hold on to that. It's just like a peachy corrector basically. And then the final one I have here is the shade Natural. Didn't I already swatch Natural? Maybe I have two Naturals and I don't realize it. Yeah, I think I actually have two Naturals. I'm going to let that extra one go. Currently, this is my favorite concealer. It's by NYX Cosmetics. It's the Hydrate Concealer in Light Golden, and it's one of those like old school push-up concealers. I feel like everything has become all about liquid now, so I love seeing products that are still kind of like this traditional kind of push-up formula, but I really love this concealer. It's very creamy and hydrating. It has pretty good coverage as well. So that is what it looks like, but you can see it just kind of like glides on. It doesn't tug at the skin. It's very hydrating and very, very flattering on the under eye. So this I will continue to hold on to. This next one is by Laura Mercier. It's the Secret Concealer in number 3, and I'm gonna toss this one out for the exact same reason I'm letting go of the Anastasia one, is that I just feel like it's a little bit too deep of a shade for me. And I've also had it for an incredibly long time. Yeah, that is what it looks like. I just feel like I'm not as warm of an undertone as I used to be, or at least I believed that I used to be. I feel like my skin is a lot more neutral than it is like a warm tone like this, so it's just never a good match for my skin. Plus, I've just had it for too long. So that is pretty much it for concealers. So next I'll just move into correctors. I know that I'm going to let this one go, but I am 100% repurchasing it like right after this video. It's the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and here's why I'm letting go of it. There's literally barely anything left. I might try to use up that tiny little bit, but I'm gonna let this go. I have used it to death. It is by far my favorite brightener in the world. I have been debating whether or not I want to try the Pixie version or kind of dupe of this versus repurchasing this, even though I love it a lot. Obviously, if I can find a more affordable version, I want to try that out as well. So I might try out the Pixie one rather than repurchasing this, but if you guys have tried it and you like it, please let me know and tell me which one you prefer. I have a couple of these Real Ampule color correctors from Boutique. I love these. They're just like little push-up orange correctors for dark under eye circles, acne scars, things like that. I love that the formula is really hydrating and not drying whatsoever, so I'll hold on to those. This next one is by NYX. It's the Dark Circle Corrector. Love this stuff and will continue to hold on to it. I know that I keep saying, oh my gosh, I've had this for too long or that for too long. This takes the cake in terms of how long I've had it. It's the Eve Pearl Light Medium Dual Salmon Concealer. I remember way back in the day when this was the concealer to get your hands on. It was sold out everywhere. So if any of you do remember when this concealer was like having a moment, then you definitely know how old this is, and I really do need to just finally let it go. It was a great product. It looks like this. So you had like an orangey corrector side and then your concealer side, but it's gotta be beyond expired, so I'm just gonna toss that one out. Next, I have the Benefit Erase Paste. This I'm also gonna let go of because every time I reach for it, I find that I never ever reach for it again. It's really pigmented and obviously really creamy, but I prefer something like the Becca one where it's a corrector and a brightener in one, so I'm not layering too many products on my skin. Like the NYX one, for instance, is very lightweight. Even though it only corrects, I can add a brightener on top of it and it's not gonna look too heavy on my under eye. Where with this, because it's so thick and creamy, it just ends up looking really crazy on me. So I do really like this. I think it's great if you have dark under eye circles. It really does do the job, but it's a little bit too heavy for my liking. This is another thing I'm gonna let go of because I've had it for a really long time, though I love it. It is the 24-hour Maybelline Superstay corrector, or actually I think it's a concealer, but I used it as a corrector. It's in the shade Light Clair. I don't even know if Maybelline carries this anymore. It's pretty dang old, but it looks like this, and you can see maybe not that well, but it has a little bit of a peachy neutral tone in there, so it does a good job at correcting and concealing at the same time. The formula is really nice and liquidy, but again, I've just had this forever, so I'm just gonna toss it out. I have these three correctors from LA Colors, and I'm gonna hold on to all three of these because they're amazing. The pigmentation is so good. I have the yellow one, the green one, and this darkish orange one. I only use the darkish orange one for acne scars if I really have like any dark pigmentation. This does a really good job of reversing that, kind of canceling the color out. I can't really use it on my under eyes. It's a little bit too intense for me, but any like really dark acne scars, this is a really, really good one. This next one I'm gonna let go of. It's by Shop Miss A. It's their UHD concealer in green. And I actually did like this. It did a good job of covering up any redness in my skin. It had good pigmentation, but I'm gonna let go of it only because I actually can't squeeze any more of it out. I was gonna try it one more time before filming this video to decide whether or not I wanted to hold on to it, and I just couldn't get any more product out. So I guess we all know the answer there. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. Next, I have the Essence Say No to Dark Circles Brightening Rose pencil, and this is what it looks like. Now, I actually don't like this because it's a little bit chalky looking on my skin. It's a really nice creamy pencil, and I can't really use it directly on my skin. I feel like it looks way too thick that way. A lot of times I'll just put a little bit on my hand and kind of lightly brush some on to help with my dark under eyes. I do love the color of this. It's literally like a spot on color match for the Becca brightening corrector. So I love the color. It's just a little bit of a chalky drying formula for me. The only reason why I'm gonna continue to hold on to it is because I do want some type of pinky brightener until I repurchase either the Becca one or try the one by Pixie. So I'm holding on to it just in the interim, but once I get one of those, I'll probably let this go. These next three are by Mimi Box, and I'm holding on to all three of them. They're the I'm Mimi correctors, and I just love these. I reach for them all the time, which is why they are super beat up, but I have the lavender one, which is good for brightening the skin, the pinky one, which is kind of like a highlight, and then this green one, which I do like the LA Colors one as well, but this one is a little bit thicker and drying on the skin, where this is a little bit more natural and hydrating looking. So yeah, definitely love all three of those, so I'm gonna hold on to them. Okay, so here are all the concealers, correctors, and things like that I'm gonna hold on to. I realized at some point I kind of mixed up the piles and I was putting stuff that I was keeping in the let go of pile and vice versa, so I'm sorry if that confused you at all, but I kind of resorted through everything, and this is everything I'm letting go of, and this is everything that I'm holding on to. Okay, so lastly, I'm gonna go through my eyeshadow primers, and right away, I know I'm getting rid of this. The packaging is literally so sticky. That is one thing I despise about NARS packaging. I don't know if they've changed it. I haven't purchased, well, no, I know they haven't because I have the NARS foundation and the whole top of it gets dirty still, but the packaging gets really disgusting and like weirdly sticky. So anyways, I've had this for a very, very long time, so I'm just gonna finally let it go. It's the NARS Smudge Pro Prime eyeshadow primer. It's just like a basic lightweight primer. Nothing super special, but I'm gonna go ahead and let go of it. I have a little NYX white base eyeshadow primer. This I like using anytime I'm gonna use like a really intense shadow or at Halloween. It's kind of helpful to have something like this to use as a base. This I'm gonna continue to hold on to. It's the NYX Cosmetics Illuminating Eye Primer, and I do believe it's anti-aging. It's just a nice lightweight primer, but I love that it's very hydrating on the eye. I'm also going to continue to hold on to this other NYX eyeshadow base. This is the Skin Tone one. I really love NYX formulas, like their cream products that come in these little pots like this. I always feel like they are never too oily or greasy looking. They have great pigmentation, they stay in place. So yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that guy. I have this one that I'm gonna let go of. It's not technically an eyeshadow primer, it's actually a brow enhancer, and it looks like this. And I'm gonna let go of it just because the color is a little bit too deep for me. And it's the Sephora Brow Enhancer in number 3 Matte Sand. It's a really nice, creamy, obviously beautifully pigmented pencil. It's just, I don't know, I feel like when I use this to clean up my brows, it looks a little bit drying on my skin. So I think just as I've gotten older, I prefer more hydrating liquidy formulas for my face. So it's not that it's a bad product, it's just based on my skin type, it doesn't really work for me anymore. I have a few Urban Decay eyeshadow primers, and honestly, I kind of want to get rid of all three of these. I think I'm going to hold on to Greed, which is a beautiful shiny gold, as well as Sin, which is that like sparkly taupe. We all kind of know what these look like. So I'm gonna hold on to those, but I will get rid of Eden because I actually have the newer formula of Eden. Yeah, it's just not something I grab for anymore because it's very, very thick. So I'm going to let that go. Now I'm going to continue to hold on to the newer version of Eden, which is the one that has like this little doe foot, so it's really easy to apply. I am not crazy about this eyeshadow primer. There's one YouTuber that I see use it all the time, and every time she applies it, it looks so smooth and perfect. And on me, I feel like it can look a little bit patchy because it's slightly thicker. So yeah, I still like to work with it though because the pigmentation is amazing. If there's ever a shadow that I really need to show up on my eyes, this will always do the trick. So I will continue to hold on to that guy. I'm going to go ahead and let go of this MAC paint in the shade Bare Canvas. This always reminds me of my sister, which it almost makes me want to hold on to it for nostalgic reasons because I remember she used to have this, not this exact one, but like way back in the day, she used to use this to prime her eyes, and I remember like going through her makeup drawer or her little purse and always like reaching for it and trying to put it back before she would notice. And I don't know, that's such a weird memory, right? But I am gonna let this go purely because I've had it for a really long time, but I did really like this. It's another one very similar to Eden where it creates that beautiful opaque base for your shadow. But yeah, it's just something I've had for years and years and years. So also I know if I haven't even gone halfway through it, it's probably because there's other stuff I liked over it. So I'm just gonna let it go. I'm also gonna let go of this MAC Paint Pot by Groundwork, which was a really pretty paint pot. I used to use this as a base for other brown shadows. You can see it's really dried up, but it is a very beautiful brown type of base shade. I think back when I purchased this, it was when I mostly had MAC shadows, so the shadows that I had were not nearly as pigmented as they are now. Like Morphe wasn't a thing yet. Like I just don't feel like shadows were as pigmented back in the day as they are now. So I don't feel like I ever really need this for my brown shadows to show up and look intense on the eye. So there's not much of a use for this anyway for me. So I'm just gonna let that guy go. I'm also gonna let go of this little Smashbox Photo Finish lid primer. I don't know, I used this a couple times and yeah, it's just wasn't my favorite. It's really dried up now because I've had it in here for a while, but just as kind of like a flesh tone type of primer. Overall, I just feel like this performed the same way a concealer would on my lid. So at that point, I'm not all that likely to even reach for it. I might as well just use my regular concealer. I love this one by Essence. It's the I Love Color Intensifying Eyeshadow Base. This is a really nice, creamy, kind of brightening eyeshadow primer. You can see it's really nicely pigmented. It's much more of a liquidy formula than the Urban Decay Eden. So if you like things that are less thick, this is a really good option to try out. The pigmentation isn't as crazy as Eden, but you can still see it's a pretty good color payoff. This next one I'm gonna hold on to only because I haven't really given it a whole lot of love to really give you an opinion on whether or not I like it. It's the Maybelline Brow Precise Perfecting Highlighter. So this is more of like a brow bone type of product. And you can see it kind of pushes up. I like the shape of it because it's like the perfect shape to really hug the brow bone area. I do like the formula. It's really nice and creamy, and I feel like it's a good match for my skin tone. So yeah, I'm going to continue to hold on to that guy. This one I'm definitely holding on to. It's the Milani Brow and Eye Highlighter. I have loved this for so long. I literally use this every single day to clean up my brows on my brow bone. I never use the highlight side, to be honest, but I just love this like creamy kind of neutral side. And I like it in pencil form because obviously when you sharpen it, you just get a really precise line, where say something like this, because it's more rounded, it may get a little bit messy. This really gives you a very accurate way of shaping your brows. And there's a little swatch of it here. And then I just blend it out with a concealer brush, and it's just really, really, I don't know, flattering on the skin. It looks very seamless and just such a good tool for cleaning up brows. So this final thing is the Sephora Beauty Amplifier Lid and Liner Primer, and it's just this tiny little mini translucent powder. It kind of has like a nude tint to it, and I use this to set most of my eyeshadow primers, especially the more like liquidy ones. And I love this, even though it might be pointless to some people. I like it because it's a very silky, super lightweight powder. I don't like using my regular face powder to set my eyelids because I feel like sometimes it can look a little bit heavy, and if I have dry lids, it can look a little patchy. Where with this, because it's so silky and lightweight, it just kind of glides onto the skin. It doesn't stick to my dry patches and just kind of lightly sets my eyeshadow primers. Okay, so that is the final roundup. In total, I got rid of 23 products, which I feel is pretty good. So here's what's left of those eyeshadow primers, and then concealers, correctors, things like that. And then here's everything that I'm going to be letting go of. Oh my God, this is like sticking to the blanket. If you guys did like this decluttering video, please be sure to give this video a like. And if you're new to my channel, definitely don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys again for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next decluttering video. Bye.